Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My name's David and this is my channel. Today's video, trust what you cannot see but you can feel. Well, let me start by saying in Tai Chi, the idea of Chi, this elusive Chi we've all heard. What happens is that the movement forwards and backwards, left and right, up and down, these movements become seamlessly put together. Hard to explain, so much so that they are a pulling and pushing force merging together like a mechanical feeling in your body. It's one of the most amazing feelings in the world. And the only way for these two to come together is to let go of the separation between the two first. So the same thing happens with this unseen, invisible force that we talk about. We name Source, the God presence. For a long time, we put it outside of ourselves. We prayed to it. But now we're starting to understand that that force, as like Tai Chi, these two forces, where you are, your limited perspective, so to speak, and this broader perspective, where you are right now, currently, and your future, want to come together and seamlessly get put together, and they become a mechanical force. And therefore, where you are right now can pull in specific futures in such a way where they're seamlessly coming together. And I use that word because that's the only word I can think of. They're so connected that there's no gap, no space in between the two. Now, with that said, the only way to do that is once again to let go of the separation between the two, just like in Tai Chi. So that's what this video is talking about, this idea that we have to trust. First, we have to trust that this invisible force is there. Just as in Tai Chi, they have to trust that the left and right are connected and not separate as we think. So all separation disappears, and as separation disappears in your mind, then it disappears in your body. Now, the same thing happens in your life. As you let go of separation, then everything connects. You, your creations, you, your brothers and sisters, and so forth and so on. Now, this is the key. In order to get this moment right now, this feeling of where we are right now in your future to connect in such a way that you can feel it like it's real, like it's true. And then you can merge it into this present moment and they can become one moment together and then feel the movement like this. The way to do that is to let go of what's stopping that from happening. Now, what's stopping it from happening? Two things are mostly stopping this force from coming together. One, how we feel about others and the guilt, or rather sin that we see in them, that Jesus talked about. The idea of you can't see sin in your brothers and sisters. You have to love them as you love yourself. He was trying to get us to understand this, that this God energy, that God is not outside of you, but wants to come and become one with you. And that God energy that he was talking about, that Father, that Abba, was the mind of God, but also your higher self. It was you that you are giving to yourself, because you can connect to it in such a way that you become one with it. Now, that idea of letting go of that separation, or letting go of that guilt, or letting go of that sin is essential. So I've learned in my life, that's the key. That's why innocence is so important. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to be able to connect to this vortex, this kingdom of heaven, this pulling in of the future, this wholeness of who you are in such a way? Then you've got to let go of the guilt that you see in your brothers and sisters. It cannot be both ways. And this is the trick. That's why he says you cannot serve two masters. We believe we can sometimes. We believe we can find innocence in ourselves and guilt in our world. And I assure you, it's not possible. You can't do it. And you can't see guilt in your world without having some kind of pain eventually in your body. They are the same. So you can't have a strong, healthy body and not have strong, healthy relationships. Do you understand? They are connected. So Jesus is saying the house divided. You're dividing your house by believing you can go in both places, and it's not possible. So that leads us to what I call the way. And I believe Jesus called it the way too. The idea of there's only one way to go, but there's two ways that we can go, but there's only one way that works and the other one doesn't. And that's what needs to be understood. So these two ways. Well, first, let's talk about this voice, because we have essentially two voices. Now, let's talk about the voice. We call it the monkey mind, or we call it the mind activity. First off, can I convince you that you are indeed serving an unseen and invisible force and an invisible voice? I can assure you that you have to. You have to serve one. So a lot of people say, well, Dave, how do I put all my faith and trust in an invisible part of me? That Holy Spirit, where's it at? I can't see it. How can I trust it? And I say, well, what about the voice that's already running you? How do you trust that? You can't see that either. What's the difference? And that's key component to understand, because look, let's say if I take my life and I say, where's my money? Oh, I don't have enough money, and my relationship could be much better, and my business isn't thriving, or my car's not working, or my body should be feeling better. Let's say we just take those 5 things. I'm sure you have your own. Now, as I stand here, sit here, and I say, why do I feel like I have no money? The voice is telling me, Dave, you need more money. You don't have enough money. But is that true? Where's that voice at? Who's telling me that? Who's telling me that my body's not good enough, or that my body needs to be healthier or stronger? Who's telling me that my business is not working, or my relationships are not working? You see, we can all sit back, but as you start asking, who is it that's telling you this? And who is it that you are believing that this is true? Because the reality is, I don't know what's going to happen 1 second from now. So how do I know I don't have enough money? It's a good question. I don't know where my body's going to be tomorrow morning. So how do I know my body supposedly is not healthy or strong? You see? And how do I know my business is not doing well? I don't know what's going to happen 5 seconds from now. I could get the call of my life. See, the more you understand, this voice is using what? The past. It's not only using the past, it's interpreting the past in such a way to push against you, for you to see that you are missing. But what it's really missing, as you look at it, is the future. It doesn't know what's coming in. So the future is not part of this voice's plan. And that's how you have to look at it. Look at your mind activity. Look at that voice. I call it the voice of confusion, the voice of chaos, or the voice of conflict. That voice is trying to conflict you by trying to separate you from your future, or you from what's next, or you from your source who holds everything that wants to flow in. Does that make sense? Can you see it? It's trying to separate that. That's all it's doing. And it's using the past in order to do it. And the more you recognize that, the more you would debunk it. Because we can go down so easily. And if you do, oh man, why don't I have enough money? I got to blame someone. There's someone I'm going to blame, something I'm going to blame, whether it's my money, my business, this person, how I grew up. I should have grown up. My parents, I was never rich. There's always something to blame. And then as you blame, you take it as yourself. Oh, I'm no good. I've made these mistakes. Right? Anyone know that trap? Wow, right? That's the biggest trap of them all. And now you're looking at what's missing. What's missing? What's missing? You see, it feels like that's the only way. That's reality. That's the way it is, Dave. That's what I was told. No one told me there was an invisible presence that I can tap into. You see, even when I went to church, it says, well, you could pray to this and this, but no one said there was an actual invisible presence that I can tap into and flow with, that wants to find me, that wants to be with me, that wants to merge with my energy like that Tai Chi. Nobody told me that the up and down can merge in such a way that it could be almost feeling like mechanical or hydraulics. No one told me this was true. Do you see? But it doesn't mean it's not. And I've learned in my life that there is an invisible presence that you can tap into in such a way that it becomes you, one with you. It didn't feel like you at first, but it becomes one with you. And then eventually it feels like you. Does that make sense a little bit? I always have trouble. It's like, how do you explain this? It's like Tai Chi. It's one of the hardest things to teach because it takes so long for someone to really be able to feel it on their side so they can understand the truth in it. But it is true, I can assure you. And the way to let go of that voice is to recognize you're already listening to a voice. Except that voice is causing chaos and confusion and conflict in your energy. Because it's saying that your future is fearful. And it's saying your future doesn't love you, doesn't want to come in. It's saying things don't work out for you. And it's using the past to do it, thereby taking the present moment and trying to pull it apart. And since you essentially are your present moment, it's trying to pull you apart. And that's what it feels like. And the separation between that parts of you and that conflict is going into the body and coming in the form of separation. And then it's also being projected out into the world. Therefore, the world seems like it's in conflict too, even though, believe it or not, it's not. So that conflict is coming from this voice and listening to this voice and believing this voice. You see. And there's another voice, but they're both invisible. And that's the important thing. So what about this other invisible voice? The other invisible voice simply says that whatever you're missing, here it is. I know it's coming. I know all is well. Now, but you can't get there by being specific. You have to let go of what you want and embrace what you need. So I don't say, I know you know what I want. I say, I know you know what I need and how I need it and how it comes in. And I give it over to you. I believe in you. I have faith in you. I trust you. That presence. Give it a name, whatever you want. I just call it this beautiful presence of God, or the presence of Source, or the divine presence. I trust you. I love you. I appreciate you. Give your love. Give your appreciation to it. Recognize it. Give to it as much as you've been giving to this other voice of conflict. Give to the voice of love. Because these are the only two choices we'll ever have. And as you give to this voice and you give to this presence, I know that you have me. I said every day, and I just simply say, I know that you've got me. I know you know what I need, and I know you know how to bring it to me. I know that what I do will work, will be good, will flow, and where it needs to go, it will go. I have faith and trust in my life. I have faith and trust in what wants to unfold in my life. And I give to this presence. Now, at first, I get that you might not feel 100% the connection to it, but you'll start releasing more and more from the solar plexus because you cannot tell yourself all is well and everything's coming and everything is good and everything is flowing in perfectly and looking at what's missing at the same time. Two different worlds. You see? So if I'm looking at what's missing and I'm saying I don't have enough money, I don't know what I'm going to do, that's going to stop me going, I know you'll take care of my money. I know that everything is flowing in just the way it's supposed to flow. These beautiful comments, beautiful words and feelings about myself and giving to myself and listening to myself. You see, you can't do both. I give everything over to you. I trust you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I know you are taking care of me. And you are bringing me what I need. This is how you do it. Every day, a little bit more. This is how you do it. You give that praise and that love and that appreciation over to that higher perspective, to that one mind that we all belong to. And if you have a saint or you have a master or Jesus or Mother Mary, anything, Give it to them too. They're real. Give them your love, your appreciation, your joy, your peace. And the more you give to that part, that invisible part that is within you that Jesus spoke so much about, the bigger it will become. And the less you will give to that other voice that talks about and is really interested in the outside of all the guilt and sin that's going on. You trade one for the other. That's how you do it. And as you align more with that presence within, and you feel it, and you breathe it, and you give your faith and trust over to the invisible, don't worry, we've already been given it over to the invisible. Don't give your trust to a fearful future. Give yourself trust and faith to what's real. Because trust me, as you do it, and as you breathe in it, and as you talk to it, and as you speak to that part of you, you're going to feel it in your solar plexus. It is real. And you will feel the reality of it. And as you sit with it, as you breathe with it, as you love it, as you appreciate with it, you see a different form of meditation. You don't have to just stay quiet. You can give to it. You can appreciate it. You can love it. You can align with it through who you are. And then, in order to keep that alignment, all you have to do is two things. One, love your brothers and sisters as you love yourself. See them as innocent instead of guilty. If you see them as guilty, you've gone back over to the other voice, and now you're serving the wrong voice again. If you see them as innocent, then you let them be. Let them make their decisions. Let them live their life. You see, it's more important to leave your brothers and sisters alone because it's the only way to connect to this voice, to this energy. And that's what you really, really want. And the second thing is to appreciate your creative world, to find joy in your creations, to enjoy your drinks, to appreciate your pants, to feel the comfort in your jacket. These are all creations. And as you just find joy in your creations, you will feel at peace because that voice wants you to not like them, to judge them, to separate from them, push against them. Do you see? See these two different ways? These two masters that we have to serve one of them. And as you give love to your brothers and sisters as yourself, and you give joy and appreciation to your creations in your world, you will align more and more and more to this part of you, to the point where you just say, I know all is well. And from there, things will start flowing in. The manifestations must come, and you will feel no gap between where you are and what you need. They will be one. I hope this makes sense. Thank you so much for listening to me. Of course, it is always up to you what you receive. My love and appreciation to all of you. Like the video if it's speaking to you, and subscribe. And as always, my unconditional love and appreciation to you.